sons of England, of Scotland, of Ireland and Wales, my brothers. I see in your eyes the same despair that would take the heart of me. A day may come when the courage of Britain fails, when we forsake our culture and break all bonds of heritage. But it is not this day, an hour of subjugation and fractured communities, when our civilization comes crashing down. But it is not this day. This day we fight. By all that you hold dear on this good earth, I bid you stand, men of the West!
The battle cry, I believe, that should be going on right now should be burn the voter rolls. Do you agree? Hey, folks, welcome to the program. We're going to cut some crap. Just as a funny thing, I ran that great artificial intelligence video because it's about, Europe, Western civilization, taking back its civilization against all the crap that we go against, right? All this transgender stuff and whatever. And while I'm just kind of piddling along, waiting for the program and stuff, I'm grazing news headlines and came across this one in Canada. Gun person in dress kills 9 in a school shooting. The story goes, a shooter described as a female in dress killed 9 people in a remote part of Canada. Blah, 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 killing it. They basically changed it in a press briefing, calling it a gun person because they may have been transgender, right? And then it goes on to say the shooter's motivation probably died with them when they took their own life during the attack. I guess being progressive means you can be illiterate too. Or does it stand to reason they did it to themselves? Anyway, this is kind of the weird crap we're all going through, right? That we all deal with in this messed up world we have. By the way, raise a finger, share the program. Today's program is brought to you by the fine folks at Goldco. If you'll go to jovanlovesgold.com, which I do with my partners at Goldco, I'm only asking you to request your free gold and silver kit today. That's it. That's it. Free gold and silver kit. Interesting, huh? By the way, let's see. I got booted just now from Instagram for running that video. I guess they didn't like the West and take back your whatever. Yeah, Instagram just went down. What a crock of poo-poo. Anyway, with my partners at Goldco, I want you to request your free gold and silver kit today because now's the time to protect your money with gold and silver. Please do it, especially if you have a 401k, IRA, retirement savings account. Please, 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 please. Get the information. Feed your brain. Share this program while you can. We're going to have an interesting program. We're going to talk about the Georgia elections right now in the spotlights all over the place. And we're going to analyze. I'm going to leave it up to you. We're going to analyze, is this a breakthrough or great work or ground cover or political theater? Don't know. Right? Don't know. You decide what happens. You decide for you. Everything I see, by the way, people are asking, is Twitch up? Everything I see, Twitch is up. Let me know, you guys on Twitch. But I showed that Twitch is up. Maybe Twitch went down too. Maybe they twitched when I showed that. Okay, share this program right now. You're going to like it. We're going to dive into this, and we're going to get real serious about what's going on. 2 minutes. Get going.
Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County Full Forensic Audit Archives survive. Donate now. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We can't do it without you. We need...
Warning. The following program has been rated Gilligaff and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you? Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians, the elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused, emotional socialist snowflake crowd? Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer. He's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics. They all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer.
Okay, folks, welcome to the program. Hey, a few little bit of housekeeping real quick. I know many of you watched Roseanne and I doing a program together, and I know you noticed that the Jew hate just rolls out, right? Just rolls out, and they troll and they pile on and everything else anytime, not only when Roseanne's out, but especially when it's Roseanne and myself, two Jews talking about this stuff. I want to let you know the system does that by design because they don't want Jews that are influencers, that are conservative, that are red, white, and blue. It's totally fine if you're an American hater. They'll amplify you, but not Jews that are conservatives. The system just doesn't like that. And so that's why you see so much hate. And I know it gets exhausting, and I know they're just a bunch of idiots, but that's what they are. They're a bunch of idiots. Truly a bunch of idiots. And it doesn't help when Candace and idiots like that inflame it. But at least you might be able to see the deception. You watched the horrible October 7th stuff way back when, and then you saw the anti-Semitic Jew hate up, and then Jews control everything, Jews run everything, and now they're paying key conservatives to say, yes, the Jews do it. That should tell you everything you need to know about what a big deception it is, right? When it happens. By the way, point of reference, especially for all of our friends and family in Texas, do me a favor, two things. In chat, because I haven't done this in a while, tell me where you're tuning in from. We have people from all over, but tell me where you're tuning in from. If you're in Texas, I just want to let you know, you probably did not know that yesterday, El Paso, Texas, went over a 10-day temporary flight restriction. Now, this is under international defense airspace. It happened. This is a serious thing. All aircraft operations, including commercial, including cargo, including private flights, everything surrounding El Paso is shut down. This is only done when there are credible threats that there's going to potentially be a ground-to-air missile strike. I posted this to you before, and I showed you the terrorists coming across the border. Evidently, it's got to the point they suspect they're going to start shooting down aircraft. And it's going to come from that Mexican side of the border where they've staged a lot of this. I just want you to understand what's going on. For our government to take this step is more than serious. Okay? It's more than serious. Take it serious. Don't take it lightly, right? It should be very concerning. And by the way, Jamie out there in Odessa, right? Keep your head on a swivel. Keep your head on a swivel. I see people all over Long Lane, Missouri, Illinois, Chantilly, Virginia. Let me know where you're tuning in from. East Texas. Hey, Craig in East Texas, Big E. From the West Coast, Dallas, Texas, Northport, Florida, etc. Things are getting serious. Grumpy Jones is from the armpit in Ohio. It could be worse. You could be in the center of the armpit, or you could be in that one armpit that has the skin tag you can't get rid of. There's worse places. Suffolk, Virginia. Shit again. It used to be called Michigan. Now it's called shit again. We know where that is, right? Southwest Ohio, etc. Anyway, we're all family and friends here, and I'm going to cover this. I'm going to let you know kind of right up front. I'm only going to ask you to look at this through the eyes you have now after everything, hopefully, you've learned over the course of 5 years, and you're seeing all kinds of new breaking headlines of discoveries. Look, we found this, duplicated ballots and whatever, and you're going it so 5 years ago. I'm going to have you decide whether it stinks or not, or whether this is something good or not that's going on in Georgia. Okay? But what I want to do is I don't necessarily want your mind to wander. I want you to kind of focus in. Here's the focus. If something is to be done regarding anything that happened in 2020 or nefarious elections, what is the one thing you want done? Now, let me give you a few examples of what context I mean, and then you can put it in chat. Do you want the entire election system fixed? Hey, Angela in San Antonio. By the way, San Antonio is my hometown. I grew up in Castle Hills. Almost Elementary School, Nimitz Middle School, Robert A. Lee High School, which is why the offensive name has been changed to the International High School, because you can't say Robert E. Lee. My old stomping grounds, dear. Anyway, some people will say, I want these rat bastards to go to prison. Some people will say, I want them to get rid of mail-in ballots. Right? By the way, the GOP has just asked the Supreme Court to ban counting mail-in ballots received after Election Day. Okay? Now, what this is they're using a Mississippi law that is in effect seeking an order that would prohibit states from counting ballots they consider legally cast, but improperly filed under state election laws. It's a little bit of a twist in it. And the reason is you're going to find many of these mail-in ballots that are considered questionable, okay, arrive 3, 5, 14 or more days after the election. Oh, wait. Well, that's right. My election was, it was 2 weeks ago. I got to send this damn ballot in, and they're counting them. And so I want to know what you want done. I want to tell you where I stand. The whole system needs to be redone, which is what we're going to talk about. But the whole system needs to be redone. To me, there is not one thing if you look at all the individual things doing, ban Serbians, get rid of Venezuelans, fortify the PCAPs, engage nothing's going to fix this. Not a one. The whole system has to go away. Some people say I want election day voting, right? And if I got a troll alert, you got to give me a name or it does me no good. And so I have to ask you, where do you want something to happen? And I want you to get real focused on it. Somebody go to jail or whatever, or for them to prove it. You just have to ask yourself. And that's what I want you to think of. But I want to remind you there's hope. What I want to see is burn the voter rolls. I want to remind you hope, though. Even though this whole situation stinks, sometimes the stinky stuff is a matter of perspective. We know that if we just look back at history.
Does your husband fart with a terrible smell? Congratulations.
Yeah, he said fart.
Does your husband fart with a terrible smell? Congratulations. You've got a true historical treasure at home. The kind that in the Middle Ages was disputed like a warhorse. Seriously, back then, the smellier the fart, the greater the man's reputation. The odor wasn't seen as a problem. It was a sign that his body was expelling everything bad. People said that anyone capable of releasing a stench strong enough to wake a sleeping chicken had iron health and divine protection. Banquets were practically competitions. The husband who...
Yes, this is true. Did I tell you, not only can I wake a sleeping chicken, I can wake a sleeping dog?
Does your husband fart with a terrible smell? Congratulations. You've got a true historical treasure at home. The kind that in the Middle Ages was disputed like a warhorse. Seriously, back then, the smellier the fart, the greater the man's reputation. The odor wasn't seen as a problem. It was a sign that his body was expelling everything bad. People said that anyone capable of releasing a stench strong enough to wake a sleeping chicken had iron health and divine protection. Banquets were practically competitions. The husband who unleashed that deadly wind, the kind that opened space around him, was celebrated. Wives would fan the air with pride, as if saying, that one has the digestion of a king. And the funniest part, the quiet ones, the discreet ones, the almost no-smell types, those were viewed with suspicion. Who doesn't stink purifies nothing, the old village women grumbled. Today, a bad fart is a reason for fights, eye-rolling, and windows being forced open. But in those days, a smelly man was a symbol of power, virility, and the promise of strong heirs. In other words, if your husband's fart is killing you, in the Middle Ages, he'd be guaranteeing you social status.
How many of you have a powerful man in your house? True history. Sometimes history is weird. I wonder what they'll write in 100 years of us. The man who sputters when he farts is the true... Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, How I Met Your Mom. Thank you very much. Make farts great again. Okay. I show you that because this is going to stink. Yeah, it's going to stink as we talk about this Georgia stuff. Okay, and I'm going to kind of unpack it a bit, piece by piece, and we're just going to talk about some of the things going on. Okay, and I'm just kind of asking you to put your deductive reasoning to it. Now that's too far. Chewy farts, come on. Sometimes we look at this as a competition, and sometimes we look at this way too emotionally. They want these rat bastards to go to jail. If Ruby, whatever her name is, in Georgia went to jail, honest question. If Ruby, whatever her name, went to jail in Georgia, would it have changed anything in the system? Put in chat. If they sent Ruby to jail for overscanning ballots or whatever, would anything change? in our elections. Would one thing change? A lot of people go, see, I told you so. I know she was bad, right? But the issue is not a damn thing will change, folks. This is how I kind of want you to think about this today. Because we are emotionally and psychologically fed tidbits along the way. And it placates us. But the fact we have issues in our country and the placation is why we are where we are. I'll give you an example. The system even lets you know. John Solomon ran this. I'm going to show John Solomon bit here in a moment. Okay, so here's what somebody said. Thor said, great, Thor, thanks for adding that on Rumble. Thor said it may stop the next guy. So let's say Ruby is the one that fed in extra ballots in Georgia. Let's just use that as an example. Let's say Ruby goes to jail. You're right. It might stop the next person in Georgia. How does that fix the election in our countries? $175,000 precincts across our great United States of America. That's where the ballots are scanned in. So Ruby goes to jail. What will that do, cause and effect wise, to 175,000 precincts? Let's say it even moves 10% of them, 17,000 of them. Did it change the system? That's my point. That's my point. Now, you have to learn how to read conservative media as well. Here's John Solomon. Breaking. FBI has substantiated irregularities in the Georgia 2020 vote counts, probing if they were intentional. There are two words in there that are important. That is we approve this headline, get this story out. That's not how people write, folks. John does a great job just in the news. It's well known in conservative circles, but you understand that's a system headline. Breaking. FBI has substantiated irregularities in Georgia's 2020 vote counts, probing if they're intentional. Now, let me ask you a question. Irregularities. I've shown a little bit of irregularities. I saw these guys at banquets in the Middle Ages charting on themselves as a competition. They were probably irregular. Do you go to jail over irregularities? What's the difference of probing if they were intentional? Now, does anybody write like that? Is the story the FBI found stuff that lends credence to a lot of the claims of nefarious actions during the 2020 election? They'll never make an example of Ruby. She was given the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It's part of why they did it. She's protected forever. They won't taint the medal. It's all a game, folks. Let me ask you a question. The story could be that the FBI found things that validate a lot of claims about the 2020 election in Georgia that were considered conspiracy. That's a very plausible headline. FBI confirms suspicious actions took place in Georgia during the 2020 election that mainstream media called conspiracies. But that's not what this headline is it? So I want you to understand the system and its reality and what we get out here. Because I'm telling you, it's not some incredible tweet. Breaking! The FBI have substantiated irregularities in Georgia 2020 vote counts, probing if they were intentional. Now, Let's play that out. Let's just play that out, okay? In a courtroom. I've got you on the witness stand, you're Ruby. We saw you double scan a batch of ballots. What does she have to say where it's all bets are off? Do you know what she has to say? Put it in chat. What does she have to say to shoot it down? I didn't mean to. And if she didn't mean to, you know what that means? Well, it wasn't intentional. I didn't know I couldn't have my own email server at my residence with State Department emails. And I didn't know. Hell, if I'd have known, I wouldn't have done it. I didn't mean to do it. There's your answer right there. There's your answer. Even before I get into the story, there is your answer. I call it the boo-boo effect. And so I want all of us to kind of take a look at the boo-boo effect. Here is what mainstream media is saying about what's going on in Georgia and the FBI raid.
This morning, details from a newly unsealed affidavit shows that year.
By the way, if you don't think the boo-boo effect works, look at the UK. I didn't know the 10 of us Muslims couldn't snatch a 6-year-old girl off the street and have sex with her. It's okay for our prophet. It's not a sin in our culture. I didn't know. I didn't know I couldn't give her liquor. And what happens? Well, the UK prosecutes the young girls for drinking liquor and lets the gang rapists go. It was just a boo-boo. See how much weight that carries?
This morning, details from a newly unsealed affidavit shows that years-old disproven claims from 2020 election deniers led the FBI to raid the Fulton.
Years old disproven election denier claims. Fucking media.
This morning, details from a newly unsealed affidavit shows that years-old disproven claims from 2020 election deniers led the FBI to raid the Fulton County, Georgia elections office late last month.
This is a news story. Is it me, or does this sound like today on Kids Spammy Go, we got the Goo Fest going on and we're going to be throwing snowballs at each other? Listen to her voice.
This morning, details from a newly unsealed affidavit shows that years-old disproven claims from 2020 election deniers led the FBI to raid the Fulton County, Georgia elections office late last month.
One way or the other, the records are coming with us today.
According to the affidavit, the criminal investigation began after a referral from Kurt Olson, an attorney who played a pivotal role in President Trump's attempt to overturn the 2020 election, which he lost, and who the president recently appointed to investigate allegations of election fraud. The affidavit citing allegations that Fulton County failed to create a scanned image of each ballot, that some were scanned multiple times, and that some ballot counts were inconsistent. But some of the claims cited have already been investigated and disproven through audits by state officials and by several courts. And as President Trump sought to overturn the results of the 2020 election in Georgia, 2 statewide recounts certified that Joe Biden won. The Fulton County Commissioner warning the investigation might have national implications.
If they're successful here in Fulton County as the face of this effort, they will take that show on the road and go elsewhere.
The FBI raid drawing widespread scrutiny. Lawmakers questioning why Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard was seen here on the scene of the search. Gabbard telling Congress that she was there at the president's direction. The top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, Mark Warner, insisting that Gabbard inserted herself into a matter with no connection to a foreign threat, saying her presence was meant to lay the groundwork for baseless claims of foreign interference. And a federal judge appointed by President Trump in Michigan rejected efforts by the Justice Department to obtain voting data in that state. This is the 3rd time in recent weeks that the Justice Department has tried to obtain voter data in states across the country. It follows 2 similar rulings in Oregon and in California, George.
Yeah, these attempts to interfere with the elections are constant. Okay, Rachel, thanks very much.
They're interfering with the elections. George, you know the election's over. I'm going to grab something from a screenshot. Give me one moment. Only because I want to find a, bear with me. I think if I turn sound down, can you still hear my sound? Put it in chat if you can still hear my sound. I am looking for one screenshot. Hang on. Here it is. I just got it. There you go. Bear with me one moment because this comes into play. Turn back up my sound. Good. Okay. So you saw that news story. I'm going to go right to the heart of the news story. There are still things in my world that I'm dealing with, haven't talked about, etc. But I'm kind of taking you on a journey to get there because I need you to understand it yourself, the totality of all of it. Going back to that particular newscast, here is what they say. Now, this was filed by Kurt Olson to the raid. And here's the three main points, right? Fulton County failed to create a scanned image of each ballot. Some were scanned multiple times. Some ballot counts were inconsistent. Allegations in an unsealed affidavit. One more time, you ready? Fulton County failed to create a scanned image of each ballot. Some were scanned multiple times. Some ballot counts were inconsistent. Let me ask you a question. Which one of these three, or all of them, put it in chat, which one of these three are criminal actions? Is it criminal for Fulton County to have failed to create a scanned image of each ballot? Is it criminal that some ballots were scanned multiple times? Is it criminal that the ballot counts were inconsistent? None of the above. None. Zero. None. Zero. None. Zero are criminal actions. Now, what you hope in an investigation is you have to prove criminal action, criminal intent, and widespread. Now, right now, you know enough on this. Okay? Here it is. Now, some of you say, well, if they did this, and did this, it could cause an incorrect count. Okay, let's play that out. Let's say the courts prove the counts were incorrect. What happens? Put it in chat. If the court are able to prove that Fulton County could not count and that the counts were incorrect, what happens? Some of you know what the game is, got it right on the head. What happens? What happens to the elections in Georgia? What happens to the presidential election? What happens? I'm not asking what it is. It's technically maladministration, but you use maladministration to get your foot in the door. What happens? Three things will happen. Let me put it on my screen. Let's see if, wait, no, I got to put it as a, hang on. I got to go here, got to go here. Okay, I'm going to show you what happens. I'm going to change the size of my banner. Yeah, you just tug on my ear. No, I'm going to change the size of my banner, and I'm going to show you what happens. Ready? 3 Ironically, it's 3 definitive actions if all of these are proven. Right there. Do you know what that is? That's the 3 definitive actions will happen. Maybe 4. Here's why there will be 4. In the files regarding the 2020 election in Fulton County, they will add an asterisk with a footnote. In the Georgia elections for the state, for the 2020 election, in the records, they will add an asterisk and a footnote. In the presidential election for the United States Overall Election Assistance Commission, they will add an asterisk and a footnote. And on Biden's bio as president, they will add an asterisk and a footnote. I should correct this because it's going to be 4. Oop, here, wait, edit. You're right. It'll be 4. And where is it? There's my keyboard. And I'm going to say the news organizations will have an asterisk that they've got it wrong. That's what I think will happen. And then in future generations, people will come back. They all got 5-star reporting for everything they did regarding the election. It was 5-star reporting. See, it's 5 out of 5 stars. You're right. Some of you are saying at least something happens. No. Did anything happen? See, we're measuring this wrong. Now, this is my own opinion. You can tell me to fuck off. My definition of something happening in this means we changed for the better. I don't think of a county. I don't think of any individual state. I think of we as a nation. We changed for the better. That doesn't happen in this case. So is this really, well, at least something happened? See, that's the game. Although you're right, turquoise is right. It would actually go down like this. It would, because they would have quotes. And because it would be quoted if they marked it. Okay, I got it right now. This would be the footnotes. Although those particular implants a little too big for the small body because it, made the nipple go north. But you know what I mean. Nothing's going to change with that. We're going to get footnotes. I just want you to understand, it is not a crime for Fulton County failed to create scans of each ballot. That is actually not a crime. But you can prove intent, which I'm going to show you at the end of the program. And you can, right? Did Michelle say that? 450 cc, speaking from experience? Okay, yes. They can lead to crimes depending upon how far you're willing to investigate. But this, Fulton County failed to create scanned image of the ballot. Now, they used this in multiple states, Maricopa being one, by the way. Oh, hey. But you didn't hear about it. It's because you can see the crime in mass versus small. They did the same thing in Fulton, but I'm going to show you at the end. Some were scanned multiple times. Some ballot counts were inconsistent. Is that a crime? Everything in all of this comes down to intent. Now, let me ask you a question. Do these people say, oh my God, you caught me? I'm sorry. Maybe Don Lemon. I'm going to jail. Yeah, buddy. Put me on the group block. That ain't going to happen. So how do you improve intent? Because all of these require intent. The system mocks you over this stuff. The system, this is supposed to be reporting of breaking news. But I'm telling you, it's not breaking news. It's the system covering its ass. Because why would anybody who's supposed to be independent say, well, they're probing to see if it was intentional? They know the game, folks. This makes me wildly unpopular. Do you know why some quote unquote elected officials or investigators don't watch video proof files? Let's say I was going to send video proof files. Here it is. Here's how it happened. Here's how many occurred. Here's where the crime is. Here's the laws. Here's how the system tried to hide it. Here's how we exposed it. Here's the accounting. It's not what you think. Somebody said because videos can be altered. Why don't key officials, there you go, plausible deniability. See, the moment they see it or acknowledge it, oh my God, Jovan was right, amplify, amplify, amplify. Do you understand what happens? They now possess culpability. But if they don't watch it, they don't log in. You know, in our stuff, we give them all their own passwords so we know. If they don't bother to log in, you have no record that they watched it. Now, it's bad because we know why they're doing it. But then they can say, oh, I never saw that. You see, the moment they see it, and it creates an acknowledgement. That's why everything you do on social media is so important. So these rat bastards can't say, I never saw it. I never knew that. You understand what a role social media plays in holding these rat bastards accountable? We play on one side, and that's to get prosecutions, to bring evidence that can be prosecuted. And I don't give a fuck what side you're on. Because I'm telling you, there are liberals who tell us they hate our country, going to steal our country, going to screw our kids. At least they tell us the truth. What's worse, I'm a patriot. I'm fighting for this shit. That's the rat bastard. That's the one who's worse. Because they'll lie to get what they want. They'll play games to get what they want. I hate those worse. And so I don't care what side you're on, which makes me a very unpopular fellow. You have no idea. Makes me a very unpopular fellow. But I still do my job. We still create accountability all along the way. Can show you every elected official who refused to look, just all along the way. But they still have that one excuse, which is applied by all of them, investigators included. I didn't know that. I never saw that. This is why your efforts in exposing this and talking about this and correcting the lies is so important. Because all of this right here are not crimes. And I told you a long time ago, the system is designed to take one lower level player, blame it on them, and then the system gets to play, they did so good and we routed them all out. That's the rig. Long before the election rig. With that said, let me show you John Solomon's bit, and I'm going to go into this in detail. We're going to cover a lot of things you're reading about right now.
We got a lot of big news for you today. In fact, I would argue that today is one of the most momentous days in the fight for election integrity in a very long time. Just the news obtained just a short while ago, the affidavit that the FBI filed back in late January for probable cause for that raid on the Georgia Fulton County election warehouse. What the FBI says in that affidavit is extraordinary. It says it has, quote, substantiated, those are the exact words, that there were irregularities in the vote count in Fulton County. That is the Atlanta area, the largest urban center, the largest vote center in Georgia.
Again, the system tells you everything. So the FBI has substantiated irregularities. I'm going to show you what those irregularities are. Substantiated irregularities. But what exactly does that mean? See, I've always told you, the public fills in the blank. Fucking A, caught those rat bastards. Fucking A, justice, finally. Boom! They're going to go down. Really?
We got a lot of big news for you today. In fact, I would argue that today is one of the most momentous.
But it is big news because we're going to tell you big news. And in fact, this big news is so big, it's arguably the most important day forever in election integrity.
We got a lot of big news for you today. In fact, I would argue that today is one of the most momentous days in the fight for election integrity in a very long time. Just the news obtained just a short while ago, the affidavit that the FBI filed back in late January for probable cause.
I have to answer this because I care about all of you, your family and friends. Rock in America on Rumble says, I'm in regular, so what does that mean? I'm sorry, Rock in America, but you're fucking going to jail. That's what that means, bitch. They're going to throw you under the jail. They have found you to be irregular, bitch. Fucking eat some prunes.
We got a lot of big news for you today. In fact, I would argue that today is one of the most momentous days in the fight for election integrity in a very long time. Just the news obtained just a short while ago, the affidavit that the FBI filed back in late January for probable cause for that raid on the Georgia Fulton County election warehouse. What the FBI says in that affidavit is extraordinary. It says it has, quote, substantiated, those are the exact words, that there were irregularities in the vote count in Fulton County. That is the Atlanta area, the largest urban center, the largest vote center in Georgia. FBI Special Agent Hugh Raymond Evans first filed the affidavit last month. It got unsealed today. It establishes the probable cause for that raid, which were 700 boxes of 2020 election ballots were taken from a storage warehouse. After getting a referral, by the way, this is something we learned in the affidavit, the referral of this information, the specific credible evidence, came from the White House election integrity czar, a guy President Trump picked named Kurt Olson. Now, the FBI agent wrote in that affidavit that, quote, some of the allegations that were raised about the Georgia election have been disproven, while some of the allegations have been substantiated, including through direct admissions by Fulton County. I want you to stop and just think about that for a second. Fulton County is now admitting they did things inappropriately for the 2020 election. Doesn't mean the vote totals are going to change, but the way they counted and how they audited and how they did the recount clearly in great concern. His affidavit cited 5 major areas of irregularities. I'm not going to go through all of them with you. I'm going to tell you all 5 are things that Just the News reported between 21 and 24 during our investigation of the Georgia election. Now, some of them are pretty simple. The ballot counts didn't match. They would scan images, and then some of them were lost. They would sometimes count, and then the counts wouldn't match. So you have a loss of ballots. You've got ballots that were submitted for counting that didn't go through the proper verification process. There were ballots that were scanned twice, which means they were counted twice during recounts. And I think the most extraordinary admission comes from a top lieutenant to Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. He was the Georgia election chief. His number one guy admitted to the FBI, according to the affidavit, that some of the things that the FBI corroborated, some of the things that they got Fulton County to admit to, he himself, as the election chief under Brad Raffensperger, had not heard of and does not think the state ever looked at. Now, remember, Brad Raffensperger was among the people early on who argued that it was a perfect election in Georgia, no reason to distrust the count. Now, in fairness to Secretary of State Raffensperger, as Just the News began to find evidence of wrongdoing in Fulton County, things like the double counting of ballots, the missing images, the votes where someone marked both Trump and Biden and only Biden was picked the winner, that was a spoiled ballot. He admitted that maybe things weren't as perfect. And perhaps the most important piece of evidence that we put out there and that the FBI relied on in its affidavit, the Carter Jones report. This is a report by Raffensperger's personal emissary to Fulton County. He was sent there to observe the 2020 election, 8 pages of irregularities. He observed, the FBI said that is important evidence in their evidence. A couple quick things that just jump out in this affidavit. Then we're going to get to our first guest, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. We'll get his reaction on this and a whole lot more, including the subpoenas he issued for big healthcare companies and health insurance companies.
Isn't it interesting that reporters from afar who never set foot on the ground with us in Georgia discovered this and reported in it, and they discovered it, and looks like we broke the story, and we told you what happened? It's kind of like Emerald over at Lindell TV. I don't know why all these other networks don't interview me about what happened in the elections. Let's see. You interviewed all kinds of people who weren't involved. You interviewed people who were told what to say. You didn't interview any of the people that did the work, but you did a lot of interviews. And so now the network should be interviewing you because you did a lot of interviews. I have to admit she's nice to look at. Make some people trust her. I have to tell you, though, I'd trust her more if she wore a cross on the outside of her shirt. Now, did you hear anything in this story at all that you didn't know? Put it in chat. Did you hear anything in this breaking story? Ballots seem to have been rerun. The counts didn't match. Did you hear anything in that breaking news report that you did not know before? Anything? Anybody? Turquoise team says, Jovan, this is all very disheartening. No, it's not. It's the opposite. It is the opposite. It is the opposite. It is the opposite. It is the opposite. Everything is the opposite. Let me tell you why. People say this is so disheartening. People aren't going to vote. Bullshit. We need to be voting more. We need to be active more. If you're saying, fuck it, I'm not going to vote because they don't count my vote anyway, fucking go register as a Democrat. Go fucking join Antifa. You're on their team anyway if you do that. This is about doing more. This is only disheartening if you sit there and go, fuck, I didn't know this. I'm not going to fucking do a thing. Oh, God, it's over. I'm going to go sleep on the couch. That would be disheartening. Are you going to do that? Or are you going to finally learn how all of this Michigan works and how to fix it? See, it's our job to inform our lawmakers. But we let these guys tell us what they're going to do. You have known every fact on there for 5 years from me on the ground. 5 years. 5 years. And this is a breaking freaking story? No. Sorry. This is an approved, circulated, word curated report to make you feel something's happening. And if you want to hate me for that, I can't stop you. I cannot stop you. If you want to hate my broadcast because I cuss or I'm a Jew, I can't stop that. I feel sorry for you. I regret losing you if that's the case. I feel sorry that we can't fight arm in arm to fix this because we hate getting the news. We hate being told how to fix it. Fucking Jovan. You ever watch this show? He fucking tells you how to fix every bit of this, how it works, how to get a fucking conviction. That fucking asshole Mossad fucking fat fuck with 12 foreheads. I hate his son of a bitch. fucking Jew. But if I told you, guys, now I need y'all to keep this a secret. It's just us. We cannot let this get public. And man, if it ever gets to the internet, they're going to fucking crucify us all. So I want you to keep this secret. I went to a meeting in DC the other day. I can't tell you, but I saw the signal from across the room. Don't repeat that signal. No, don't repeat that. I told you to fucking keep this quiet. Don't even talk about it in chat. This is super secret. If they find out I've got an informant who's informing to the informant, who informed another person, who the postman, who delivers the mail in the office because they buy pizza, that guy, they're fucking gonna kill me. So you must keep this secret. They printed every ballot in 2020, Department of Justice printed. In the ballot, they inserted a battery. Fucking A, man. Every ballot that they printed. And it was a big job because Maricopa County alone has 10,500 different versions of the ballot. So imagine how big this sting operation was. And they kept it quiet. Nobody found out. But they put a battery in there. And we've tracked them all. Now, I want to let you know. It's only people in red shoes. If their shoes turn red, it shows they touched those ballots. I kid you not. If you see a person walking down the street and they've got red shoes, well, see, there's a special ultraviolet radio lead isotope, secret encoded antifa signal that makes their shoes turn red. Now, don't let that fool you. It's a very special shade of red because when the laser satellites burn stuff like in Maui, yes, it protects the houses with the blue roofs, but if these guys get caught on the street, the red shoes protect them. And I'm telling you, we caught them all. Now, the plan is, if you look at the date of the election, times how many days we have in each year, and how many days it has been since Michelle Obama lopped off her dong. Now, you know that because I broke that story earlier. What you do is you add that together. And if you find the pi of that number and you invert it, look for that number in any book. That's how they confirm it to each other. Because I guarantee you that number you'll come up with, it's going to be 77. You can look on almost any book in a library. And you know what? All of them fucking contain page 77. Fucking A. How did they coordinate it across all the books? But keep that quiet. Keep that quiet. I haven't run off the deep end now. More people will believe that. Fucking everybody knows it's not 77. Dumbasses, it's 33. But more people will believe that line of shit. Or any of those lines of shit. Take one, I run them all together. I should have blackened my eye. More people, Henry says his lips are sealed. I've heard that about you, Henry, but nothing a little lube won't fix. But you understand what I'm saying? That's how people are wired. And if you don't get delivered that in this, people tune out. You know why they deliver those messages like that? Because people buy it. It is easier to believe that Dr. No, for $1 billion. Shannon says there's a cream for that. You better believe it, baby. Have you stocked up? When am I coming over? Anyway, do you understand? That's this whole battle. These newscasts are, we're on it, we got it. We're on it, we got it. So I'm going to kind of go through them. And you just tell me, are we looking at a crime? And then I'm going to show you how this crime works. But then you got to ask yourself, why are you not seeing this? If all of this is evidence of a crime, and by the way, you notice he says it's like how they took down the mob. So that's racketeering, but he never mentions racketeering. Let's just kind of go through a few of these, shall we? Let's just kind of go through a few of these. Get ready. I just want you to put this on your juror hat. Understanding you have the ability to put people away. Now, I would hope, and I'm going to tell you this about me. I could have the most liberal of liberal fucktards sitting in front of me, a fucking Antifa fuckwad, and I could be on the jury. And no matter how much I hate Antifa and all that crap, or people that claim they infiltrated an Antifa call and used anything Antifa, I would still make sure as a juror it followed the letter of the law, whether I agreed with it or not. You want to know why I would do that? Can you take a guess why I would do that, other than I'm in front of God? Because I wouldn't want somebody to do it to me just because they didn't like me. Is that too simplistic? All through this election integrity shit, everybody can ignore everybody. It's Masada, whatever, just because they don't like you. You ever thought about that at the end of the day? Do you want some of these fucking conservatives to be on a jury of your peers, having your life in your hand? Fuck no. Because they cannot deal with facts and truth. And for me, this is biblical. And so I want you to know, I even wouldn't do it to my worst enemy. Even if I had the power to do it. Now, that's probably the problem with me. But that's just wrong. It's just wrong. So now I'm going to put you in the hot seat. You're the juror, and I'm going to ask you a few questions. Here's one of the major irregularities. Fulton County has admitted that it does not have scanned images of all 528,777 ballots counted during the original count, or the 527,925 ballots counted during the state's first recount. It's a major loss of evidence. Okay, and I'm going to snip this because I'm going to take you through a linear drill. Because the system will always tell you things to wow you. Well, this is my personal opinion. Don't fry me for it. And you don't have to have it. You're off the hook. You do not have to have the opinion I have. It's not required. What? Okay? It's not required. But let's look at this one statement. Fulton County has admitted that it does not have the scanned images of all of the 528,777 ballots counted during the original count, or the 527,925 ballots counted during the state's first recount, a major loss of evidence. Now, the first part of it is what's missing from this statement. All I'm doing is I'm teaching you how to find the truth within the bullshit. Tell me in chat what's actually wrong with this statement. And it's okay if you don't get it. We're all going to learn together. Put something in there. What do you think is wrong with this statement? Can you tell what's wrong with this statement? Now, I know you can do simple math, like 528,777 subtract 527,925. You can kind of come up with a little bit different of ballots between one or the other, but that's not it. Okay? Now, and also granted, you're right, there's no paper ballots. But what is the most important part of this statement that they're not telling you? Come on, it's right there. I want you to look. They're not telling you, it's not the procedures one to follow. They're giving you a major piece of evidence is missing here. There you go. Who said that? Derek D17 and Rumble. They don't have all of the scanned images. They don't have all of the scanned images. Now, why do they do something like that? Why do they give you this big numbers? We're not talking about the original ballots yet. Why do they give you big honking motherfucking numbers? Because you think they're doing big honking motherfucking stuff. Okay? Now, what's missing from this, all they've admitted to, they don't have all of the 528,777 ballots. Now, do you know why this matters? I'm going to put it out there. We'll never get credit for it. I'm resigned to that. What if you just looked at, okay, which ones are missing? I don't give a rat's fucking ass about 528,777. Tell me what's missing. Now, what if they told you, I'm going to use round numbers. I'm going to use Maricopa as an example. What if they came back and told you, well, and these are round bullshit numbers, just it's for illustration purposes. What if they told you, well, we're missing 165,000 images? Now, that's not what they say here, is it? They just say they do not have all of the scanned images for 528,777. So in order for it to be scanned, it means it was physical and it came into the system, and then there is a ballot image. That's the first thing. Now, what if they told you they didn't have it? Well, let me replay this to you if you fucking know what you're investigating and you know what you're looking for. Let's just turn this into Maricopa. We're just missing some of the scanned images of the ballots. That's the statement. We're just missing some of the scanned images for the ballots. If I just looked at the ones where the scanned images were missing in Maricopa, we can find them. Now you start asking yourself, why are those images missing? Well, it was the drive that was lost. It was the files they refused to turn over. Oh, you didn't ask for the archived ones. We archived those specifically. And then you look a little deeper. Every fucking one of them is election day, and not a single fucking one of them has a chain of custody. oh, by the way, these were supposed to be election day. They certainly didn't run that many in on election day. Why is that? Because they ran them in a fucking month later. Now do you see why words matter? I don't give a rat's ass that they took in 528,777 fucking ballots and they're missing some of the images. Because I'm telling you right now, you know the images they're missing? Identical to what happened in Maricopa. Which now maybe you understand why the GOP fucking shit its pants and made sure we didn't get the audit in Georgia, because you can't have the two states confirm each other, but you know it's the same fucking day of ballots. Pay attention, folks. That's where, on the surface, we get fed bullshit. And a lot of these people play into that bullshit. A lot of these people are there because their job is to make you think something's going on. Hey, look at my boobies. I got good boobies, but I have no fucking evidence. That's how the game's played. That's one. Let's keep on going. We're going to look at these major inconsistencies. You ready? Here you go. Second one. And yes, the physical ballots we need are probably conveniently the boxes that are missing from the 700 that conveniently the FBI called them, the head of FBI called them in advance and said, here's what they're going to be looking for. And mysteriously, those boxes disappeared. Anyway, Fulton County has confirmed that during the recount of votes, some ballots were scanned multiple times. Now, where's the lie in the opening statement? Where is the lie? Now, this is in the fucking filing. This is directly out of affidavits, directly out of the government saying there may be federal crimes here. What's wrong with the opening sentence? Fulton County has confirmed that during the recount of votes, some ballots were scanned multiple times. It goes on to say ballot images made available in response to public record request. Bullshit. That's the one that David Cross outed that I got from the court, with unique markings duplicated within the ballot images. But what's wrong with this statement? There you go, Dina. Why do I give a shit about the fucking recount of votes? I don't give a rat's motherfucking ass about the state's recount of votes. But if they fucking scanned these multiple times during the vote, and they counted it, and the county certified it, and the state certified it, that's a crime. So why do I give a shit? Why do I give a shit about Fulton County has confirmed that during the recount of votes, some of the ballots were scanned multiple times? See, let me tell you what you're getting here. Let me tell you what you're getting here. I'll tell you what I get from the what I get from the GOP on this stuff is really hilarious. Let me see if I've got it. Got to put on my eyeballs. Hang on. Let me see if I got it. Come on, where are, I say, son, where are you? Hang on. I got to go one other place. Give me a moment. I got to go here. I got to go here. I got to go here. Where? I say, where are you? Come on. I know I got it. Oh, there it is. I want to restore. I got it restored. Hang on. I know I'm fucking slow. Shut up. Here. Okay. Now let me put this on my screen. This is from one of the elected officials of the GOP in Georgia, who happened to be the person that let out the story that we knew they had duplicated these ballots and we caught it. He let it out. Not only did he become famous in Georgia, he got elected to office. I say, isn't that exciting? I call him out on it. So why does the recount matter? See, they're moving away from when it happened and telling you it was in the recount. So here's the Georgia GOP's response. You ready? Maybe you should eat a bag of dicks, Jovan. That's the Georgia GOP right there. Georgia ballots. David Cross. Maybe you should eat a bag of dicks. I told you I asked him what sizes, shapes, and flavors he had, but he never replied. But you're looking at what is derived from an affidavit in some sort of federal document. But the recount of votes here changes everything. Because you know what? It's not about the recount of votes. Eat a bag of dicks. Shove a stick up your ass, Jovan. That's the typical GOP answer to me. I've been told to eat a bag of dicks, and I've been told to shove a sharp stick up my ass. What do you think they're trying to tell me? Anyway, do you understand what this really is? You see, it's not that during the recount, and this is why I tell you words matter. And if we don't get this right, and these are in the filings, folks, we're clobbered. Do you give a shit in the recount that they reran ballots? No, because the fucking election's over. I care that they ran them during the election. The county officials certified them as good ballots. The state officials certified good ballots, and it changed the state of Georgia. That's all I care about. And by the way, everything I gave you is during the election. But this is the news that's out there. It's everybody talking about. By the way, speaking of bag of dicks, stick up my ass, Super Buff Shaft, evidently he shines it. I don't know what you use. You're going to have to tell me one day. But Super Buff Shaft, thank you for the $100. Where am I supposed to be to? No, it's all a cover-up. Yesterday, RSBN had the Congressional Make Elections Great hearing. Of course, they should have had me. No real info on the rigs other than the voter rolls they are trying to fix. Way late. Think he goes on dates? Lady asks him, what's your name? Super Buff Shaft. Well, you're not that muscular. No, it's about to shine. It's about to shine. Little trick I learned in the White House. Saw it first with a cigar. Now, I know how to do that shit. Now Jenny Blonde and all the women in Rumble are like, hey, send me a pic, baby. Super Buff Shaft. Well, I just got to tell you, folks, it's shiny, and they don't call them tuna can for nothing. Okay, let's look at the next one. Come on, he's so disgusting. He's so, no, you know what? I make fun. You know why I make fun of it? Otherwise, we'd be fucking crying. So you know what? I'm going to have fun. And by the way, Super Buff Shaft, thank you so very much for supporting our work. Thank you. Thor wants to know if dicks are kosher. I'm Jewish. Mine is. But if you're talking about the ones they cut off dudes, because it's usually kosher as butchering, and they cut it off a dude, it really depends on if they prayed to him and they hung him upright before they cut it off. I don't know. Technicality. Okay. Yes, I'd be crying if I didn't have a little humor every now and then. Denise Montgomery says, good one, Jovan. That's a double entendre, isn't it? You're saying good one because I'm a Jewish boy and you're a Jewish princess. But you're saying good one because you know. Fucking A. Good use of words. Anyway, let's look at this one. During the risk limiting audit. Here, I'm gonna give you the reports from Clements and Altman's and Dr. Frank. I see it now. And other news today, disgusting sicko perverted Jovan talked about perverted things and said perverted things. He even used the P word and the D word and made innuendos. More news at 8. Anyway, let's look at this. During the risk limiting audit, auditors counting the votes by hand reported vote tallies for batches inconsistent with the actual votes within the batch. The state's Performance Review Board reported that Secretary of State investigations confirmed inaccurate batch tallies from the risk limiting audit. Okay, line 1 of this. During the risk limiting audit, auditors counting the votes by hand reported vote tallies for batches inconsistent with the actual votes within the batch. Here's some of them. Clay Parikh posted this. Hand counts where none of them matched. Okay. I'm not sure why people always kind of post this as if it's evidence, because you can't read shit there. And even when I blow it up, you can't read shit. But let me ask you a question. This is the question. Is that a crime? Now, it's a very distinct courtroom question. During the risk limiting audit, auditors, meaning the voting company, counting the votes by hand, reported vote tallies for batches inconsistent with the actual votes within the batch. Is that a crime? I'm going to show you the number that makes it a crime. Hang on. I got to get the right number. I've forgotten more about election integrity than most people know. Come on, give me the right damn number. I don't want the overall number. I want the right number. Okay, now I've got to say it a different way. That can't be right. Hang on one second. Come on, put it up on the screen. One of you get your calculators ready. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't give you that much of the screen because you'll not look at the right place. Hang on. This is Fulton County. Okay. That can't be Fulton County, but let's say it is. Let's just say this is, okay? It basically says that on election day or election certification 2020, that Donald Trump had 137,240 votes, and Biden had 381,114. Somebody do the difference in the math, put it in chat. So 381,114 subtract 137,240. What is that? Okay, somebody just do that quick math calculation here. Fermi. 381,144 subtract 137,240. Okay, 243,874. Thank you, Dana. Thank you. Okay, so let me ask you a question. You ready? Here's the context you have to look at it in. It says, during risk limiting audits, auditors counting the votes by hand reported that tally batches were inconsistent for the actual votes of the batch. We have a few pieces here. There's a few thousand votes on each of these. But the actual difference for it to be material to the election would have to be 243,874. In other words, this would have to have happened in excess of 244,000 times. And for some reason, that number doesn't sound right to me. I want to double check it. Hang on. Because I thought it was much closer. Hold on. See if I, because it just doesn't sound right to me. But I just want to make sure. I want to make sure I got the right number. I'm looking a few different places, cross-checking. Hang on. Because I actually thought it was only about 11,000 and change. But maybe that was for the whole state. I don't know. Maybe that was for the whole state. I've forgotten so much about Georgia. It's nuts. But hang on. No, that's correct. So Trump received 242,965. It's even different today than even that report. The report of the day, I just told you the report that they listed that day said it was 243,874. The final was 242,965. So I want you to understand, for this statement to mean anything to the outcome of the election, it would have to have been done more than 244,000 times, because it has to be enough. It has to be enough to materially change the outcome of the election. So what I want to point out here, yes, the votes should always count. The votes should always count. And they're saying, hey, that the sheets and the handwritten notes don't match. The machine sheets and the handwritten rechecks don't match. Now, let me ask you a question, put it in chat. Is that a crime? Thank you, Little Dove. Whole state was 11,000 difference. The question is that in itself a crime? Is that one point in the Georgia election going to put somebody away, going to change the system, going to rewrite the system, going to fix the elections in the United States of America? Now, you know the answer is no. Let me ask you a question. Before this blaring just in the news breaking story, did you hear a rumor of that the sheets didn't actually match what was in there? We showed it over and over and over and over for the last 5 years. Now, let me ask you a question. Did the person that miscounted them mean to miscount them? Or were they just fucking stupid or enumerate? It's not illiterate, it's enumerate. The person looking at the tape, going over here to the batch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 7, 8. Shut up! You're fucking confused me. Now I got to swear. 1, 2, 3. Did they do anything with intent? Now, we know they did. But I'm asking you now in a court of law, if you put those 10 people on the fucking stand, down with the risk limiting auditors, and you're an attorney, ask them, do you believe you counted everything correctly? What are they going to say? Yes. Then they're going to be shown the evidence. Well, because they don't tell you how many it is. And it's not enough to overturn the outcome of the election. It's not enough. It's not enough. Even for the state, it's not going to close that 11,779 gap. So if this person was off 10, if this person was off 50, and we put that person on the stand, you just got to ask them, do you believe you wrote down the right count? Yes. Okay, Miss Ruby, here it is. Auditors came back and you missed it by 50. I could have swore, yeah, it's my writing, but I didn't mean to. Do you have intent? I'm dyslexic. I'm black. I got, my count mixed up. Is any of that in any way intent? That's all I'm asking. But you got to understand, that's why you get all of this served in little bitty bits. When you look at the election and you look at the numbers right in an audit, you can't hide that somebody told these rat bastards to run in 118,019 ballots a month after the fuck election in Maricopa, or they cropped image zoomed over 160,000 ballots. You can't say that was a boo-boo. Nobody fucking signed their chain of custody for all of it. Do you understand what I'm saying? But when it's these little bitty bites, you can't do anything. So you're probably asking now yourself, well, what the fuck do we do? Well, here's the thing. See, all of this is contract shit. When these people work, you put in a system of checks and measures and rechecks, and here's a few things you put in the contract. You cannot scribble your name, because we've got to know who it was. We're going to attach a copy of the worker's driver's license to the count card so you know as an auditor who did it. Why do you want that? Because they just say, well, we're not going to give you their names. We don't know. I can't tell by this scribble, but it's signed. And then you got to do it 3 times over. It's got to be 3 different groups of people on that thing. They must look at the chain of custody. Is the chain of custody for this? Does it have the signatures? Yes. And the people that touch it and sign it, you got to append a copy of their ID to it. So if an auditor comes in, doesn't have to ask the fucking state who did this, And at that time, you say, because all of them are attesting to it now, right? All of them saying you're attesting to us under penalty of law. If it's anything different, what do you have? Well, see, now you get the second part of it. What's the second part of it? They did it after the fact. That's a crime. Well, how do you enforce that? These fuckers get sealed, get taped shut, and can never, ever be opened again, which, by the way, is a law nobody enforces. This is contract law. This is easy to fix. But the system won't fix it. It doesn't take a lawmaker. It doesn't take a lawmaker, right, anywhere to write that into law. It doesn't require it. Do you know why? I believe a ballot, just like you, is a historical document. What the fuck if we came across a trove of Abraham Lincoln ballots? That'd be great. All of these are historical documents, all the way down to the county level. When you get that one rock star in that does good or that one criminal in that does bad, those become collector's items. They all should be kept. But see, we have every single measure to fix every single bit of this. But the system doesn't. And now you understand why I bitch about all of these rules. Okay? I got 3 more to go. But all of these rules, every one of these rules, I'm going to show you the fucking official federal government website for everything we've been talking about, and I'm going to get into, and what they keep bringing to court. All the rules are voluntary voting system guidelines. It only requires you use your best judgment. I have had federal lawmakers not even know this. And this is why, as long as this stays this way, which, by the way, internally, right now, there's a fight in D.C. These guys won't turn over their documents, their standards, or anything. And this is why they focus on the machines. Because if you focus it down on the little bitty shit, this gets to stay in place. That's the real game that's being played. Well, they didn't have the real count on the tapes. And on this tape, I looked at it. I swear I was getting a really bad haircut, but this number was here. And when I look at it, I just don't think this is right and standard. Now, I don't really know. I read an email. Somebody asked, good question. Somebody asked, Jovan, has the FBI contacted you regarding doing a full forensic audit of the ballots that the FBI just confiscated in Georgia? Number one, who asked that? Hang on. Hold on. JY102755. Number one, I wouldn't tell you if they did. That's not wise. But I did get, number one, there are boxes missing. I'm telling you, I think that's where the ballots are. Because, if you showed the ballot that it was done to, that's a state and federal offense. That's racketeering. But you're saying, did they get the confiscated on behalf of Voda Georgia? No, but Voda Georgia did reach out to me through Twitter. I can tell you that. Voda Georgia, you can see it up there, said, maybe you should eat a bag of dicks, Jovan. That's your vice chair there. So I guess they did reach out. Yes. Maybe you should eat a bag of dicks. I'm so picky. I'm a picky eater. Fucking there. Better all have Peronis or I'm just not interested. Yeah. Maybe you should eat a bag of dicks, Jovan. We represent Georgia, and they did reach out. That's it. It was just a rooster crossed with a telephone pole. It's a 30-foot cock that just wanted to reach out and touch somebody. And they did via Twitter. I asked them what sizes, shapes, and flavors they had. They have not replied what the menu is. I just know they come in a bag. I don't even know. Fucking might be like our chips today. We might only get 2 or 3, and we're fucking expecting a dozen. But I do expect to get cheated on my bag of dicks. Georgia, that's your fucking elected officials in Fulton County. That is, yes, I'm a picky eater. It's got to only be a left hook Peroni. You know how hard those are to find? Do you know how hard those are to find? Now, exceptionally, if it dips straight down, that's the rare one. I hear they're chewy. This is your elected officials in Fulton County, Georgia, folks. Right there. This is the guy that made sure in advance everybody knew we caught the duplicated ballots with the scans. Our show says you got me crying. I get that, but then again, I suffer from Peronis. You're just going to have to fucking take it. Release the beast. Do you get this? Do you get this? Somebody says seasoned or plain. I've tried it with jalapeno pepper, but it fucking burns and I got to run around and wash that shit off. And then I fall off the couch trying to reach it. But you understand. I mean, some of you have had that same issue, or maybe not. Yeah, I make fun of this. This is an elected Fulton County Fulton fucking County, Georgia, elected official, supposed to be this consumer tech. This is somebody's financial analyst. And this is their public response when I said, and by the way, what I said was, when I heard that the 700 boxes, they really didn't get 700, I said, I guarantee you that it's going to be the boxes that actually have the ballots we really need that are gone, that they refuse to turn over, where the incriminating evidence is. And I said, I think you got David Cross to thanks for that. Right? And that was his response. I told him he should go register as a Democrat. He doesn't love me. But I'm loved in Hawaii. Rubbed you wrong time. Yes, you've rubbed me a few wrong times. But you know what? I'm glad you increased my rate by $2. You are the fucking man, my caramel-colored brother in Hawaii who suffers on the beach in Hawaii all the time. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. It all goes to election integrity. Although I might divert the funds to finally get my bag of dicks, depending upon shape, sizes, and flavor. I do not know. Fucking going to send me tiny sausages and try to pass them off as the real deal. Anyway, I tell you this, and yes, I tell you with a grain of salt, and I tell you with a little bit of humor, because I would be crying just like every one of you. But you know what? If you don't know how this works, okay, you don't understand how to fight it. Here's another one. It might sound familiar to you. I don't know. I heard it one time. I got an auction going on. Jenny says 100, 101, 102. Do I hear 105? This might sound familiar. Auditors assisting the risk limiting audit reported absentee ballots that had never been creased or folded. That's fucking brilliant. That's fucking brilliant. If it's an absentee, they print the ballot, you fold it yourself because it's early. If it's mailed, it's folded mechanically. Fucking A. Jovan's kadili kababla dubla daba kinemata kabuka duka does nothing. It can't tell nothing. That's just stupid. Fucking do stupid. Okay, so auditors assisting in the risk limiting audit reported counting purported absentee ballots that had never been creased or folded and should be required for the ballot to be mailed to the voter and for the voter to be returned in the sealed envelope, requiring the voter's signature authentication. Let's say, just for shits and giggles, some perverted Jew. I'm not singling anybody out. Knew that the paper's the crime, and you got to do the paper, and got a hold of the ballots. Well, if you actually had ballots, absentee ballots, and they weren't hand-folded, and you had all of these mail-in ballots because there was a shitload of votes. Remember, Biden beat Trump supposedly by 242 or 3,000 votes. And that was by mail-in predominantly. And they weren't folded. What would you have? You would have lies about the physicality of the ballot. So they were not actual mail-in ballots, and they were not actual hand-folded absentee ballots. That's fucking brilliant. So what's logical here? Let's get the ballot. Oh, I'm sorry. 22 months after the election, they destroyed every one of them. Did you want them? Fuck. We didn't know you really needed them. Really? that one thing with the paper, which proves these weren't fucking mail-in ballots, it was a lie. These weren't early vote ballots, it was a fucking lie, and you counted them, is the federal and state crime. The maladministration is accepting them, and they had no signatures. Well, why didn't they fucking have any signatures on them? Because they never mailed the son of a bitches. And there it is. Same thing they did in Maricopa. But here it is in this FBI investigation. Walk, bust in the doors. Give us all these ballots. We want to see them. Well, the physical ballots we destroyed 22 months after the election, according to U.S. Code 1974 and U.S. 5220-701. What kind of a fucking nerd am I to remember shit like that? That's what a fucking nerd brain I have, is to remember federal fucking citation law like that. But do you understand? Oh, my screen froze. My screen froze. Maybe I can get one in here. Here it is. But do you understand? Okay, great. You're talking about the right thing. Radio. Thank you, brother. Thank you so very, 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 very much for supporting our program. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. You guys make a material difference. By the way, have any of you gone to Twitter, to Georgia Ballots? Because I'm not getting an answer. I just think he doesn't like me. But on Twitter, to Georgia Ballots, you can take a screenshot. David Cross suggested I should eat a bag of dicks. I am still waiting for sizes, shapes, and flavors. And I have been unable to find out and get a response from this elected Georgia County official and a person who handles people's money there in Georgia. I think it's his business. He can't be that immature, so he must really have him. He's a businessman. And so I want to know, maybe y'all could find out for me. I just want to know the varying sizes and shapes. And I want to know the various flavors it comes in. I got to tell you, I'm partial to my Jewish nature, so I like circumcised. But if you have the little calamari left over, those are fucking great air fried. Fucking tease me and not want to share. Who does that? Who does that? Yes, send. Yes, I am Jewish. I do prefer circumcised. But if you could just circumcise them, share, save. Don't throw it. Get your mensch to save the calamari ring. I'm telling you, season them right. Air dried calamari. Thor says, you're not going to like them. They're fucking dick flavored. Oh, hater, thank you very much. Extra cash for the bag of dicks. Yes, I might want to supersize it. Yes, today it's all for my bag of dicks fund coming directly from Georgia. Just wash them first. Okay. I'm laughing at this stuff, guys, because we'd all be crying. But there is some sense in there. They talked about the folded shit. Let's look at this. Ready? Jenny's offering me $403 for 1 hour. Jenny, who can I turn to? 8675309. Does she take it in the behind? I'm up to $403. Thank you. I think. Another one. On the day of the deadline to report the recount results, Fulton County reported a recount totaling 511,334 ballots, 17,434 ballots fewer than the original count. The following day, Fulton County then reported a total of 527,925 ballots. Is that a crime? On the face of it there, is it a crime? Got an old schooler here, Little Dove. Little Dove uses a term I grew up with, tallywhacker. How many guys when you were a kid had a tallywhacker and you were not supposed to touch your tallywhacker? Who comes up with these names? Is there a crime there? Just a question. Is there a crime? Somebody says, do I get in trouble if I want to steal the bag of dicks and I do a 5-finger discount? I actually think they'll pay you for that. Question. Is there a crime right there? I know you didn't listen. Let's go back to it. Ready? On the day of the deadline to report the recount results, Fulton County reported a recount totaling 511,343 ballots, 17,434 ballots fewer than the original count. The following day, Fulton County then reported a total of 527,925 ballots counted. Is there a crime there? Yes. Paula Hughes. I know the tallywhacker's from England. You old bean. Well, you know where the term bean, playing with the bean, comes from. Paula. Same place as tallywhacker. There's no crime here. There's no crime here. I must admit, Paul is a certified instructor in bean flicking. I understand and I appreciate that profession. I do. I really do. Is there a crime? Now, this looks really odd. Can we agree this looks odd? Well, fucking, where'd 17,434 ballots come from? When did they get run in? Well, here's how you would track down that crime. Do you track it down here? Do you track it down with the little ticker tape machines? No. Is that how you track it down? No. The way you would track this one down is to have oh, sorry, it's not Paula. It's Paul Andrew Hughes. I'm sorry I misidentified you, and I so regret saying that you were proficient flicking your bean. I think all of us would love to have our own personal bean. If we could, I'd pull it out of my pocket quite often. But you got skills, brothers. I appreciate it. You got skills. Anyway, is this a crime? Now, here's how you find it. If we had the boxes and we had the batches, if we had the boxes and the batches, okay, and they were sealed like they were supposed to do, here's what would happen. We could immediately know in a full forensic audit, okay, where did these 17,434 ballots come from 1 day later? We would be able to isolate them. And if we could isolate them, then we could isolate the ballot to the precincts and everything else, to the batch, to the box, to the machine, to the date and time stamp, and to the status of that ballot, whether it was election day, early vote, or whatever, and then to the physical state of that ballot. Okay, was it in fact a mail-in ballot? Was it folded? Do you see how the number is kind of irrelevant now, because all they have to say is, I'm sorry, we left a few boxes behind, but we found them. You say, okay, which ones? Well, all we have to look at is cheap, cheesy digital records that are below grayscale. It wouldn't show us anything. Certainly wouldn't show us the state of the ballot, whether it was really mailed. You can't determine did a human or a machine fill in that oval. Do you understand yet why they stay away from the machines? Or excuse me, why they push to the machines? Because it's all voluntary, but nothing with the ballot's voluntary. Nothing with the ballot is voluntary. This is what concerns me. You know, I'm only reading to you from their reports. And all of these reports keep on saying the machines. Give an example. Here's Clay again. But what cannot be decided conclusively or confirmed conclusively is whether or not those duplicative ballot images were included in the count. Well, now that's a statement made out there, and I'm hoping that Clay didn't make this statement, because let me tell you why. How were the duplicate ballots found? MJ Visk, thank you so all of you guys. Just thank you for your support of the program. God bless you. It all goes to all our work we do. But let me ask you a question. Clay has said here, he's the expert du jour. And it's a quote, so I'm going to say it's in this. Georgia Secretary of State, General Counsel Charlene McGowan states, blah, blah, blah. But what cannot be decided conclusively or confirmed conclusively is whether or not those duplicative ballot images were included in the count. Now let's do a little bit of deductive reasoning. When this bag of dicks seller released information, Mr. David Cross, who double-crossed all of us by showing we had duplicates way back then, nobody was authorized to have the cast vote records. They were not public. They were solely in my possession by the court, period. They were not public. Georgia hadn't made that decision at that time. I want you to think about that. Georgia had not yet allowed anyone to ever have their cast vote records. I am working directly with the judge. The judge authorizes me. It's sent to me. But as a courtesy, the people on the ground that were really doing the case gave a copy to Garland Favorito. What does Garland do? Gives a copy to David Cross. For whatever reason, what does David Cross do? Makes a social media name for himself. It got him into politics. All of this before cast vote records were ever allowed to anyone in Georgia outside the court order, and I was the only one. And what does David Cross do? Which I call him out on it. And this elected official says maybe you should eat a bag of dicks, Jovan. Anyway, let me ask you a question. Let's go back and read this statement. But what cannot be decided conclusively or confirmed conclusively is whether or not those duplicative ballot images were included in the count. So let me ask you a question. If the court gave me the fob of these cast vote records we're looking at, I'm testifying to the court, we need the paper, not the cast vote records. I can't tell by the cast vote records were they folded. I can't tell by the cast vote records, is it a proper color ballot? I can't tell the grade of paper by the cast vote record. I can't tell whether a machine filled this in or a human filled it in. We can't tell anything. They're pieces of shit. The equivalent of a 1980s fax standard, IEEE. Now, I knew already we'd find the duplicates. I already knew it. That was totally secret behind the scenes. I get the fob. This guy gets the fob. This guy decides to make a social media announcement over it. It changed him, Lumberjack, CanCon, Moe's Doofus, Taco Bell boy. What's his name? All you should do, they all come in and start being podcasters, all ran the story. I told them, you just fucked Georgia, man. You just fucked the nation. Anyway, he ran with it. Mo Cedar, who's the other fellows? Beanie, Bonnie, Boney, Boner, Maliki, Bacheesi. Yeah, Breezy or Bacheesi or Geezy or whatever it is. And they all decided to make a story out of this. I said, you have fucked the nation. Now, let me ask you a question. In order to know the ballots had been duplicated, which I knew from the fob and kept secret because we're fighting a war, but yet that fob given by the county, this is the county's official information. Here it is. And we already know there's duplicates. And in fact, the guy that Cross got to write code to find it, I even went in and bought the code from the kid and paid him so he'd never do it again until we got through the court issue. But in order for it to appear on a fob provided by the state, let me ask you a question. Did it go through the count? See, the answer is right in front of you. This is the game. In order for me to even have it from a fob from the judge, it is the county saying, here they are, these are the count, and they certified it, which is how we got the images to begin with, which is how they sabotaged the entire Georgia audit. It means they ran them in because it's on that fob. If it's on that fob, it got fucking counted. But here is Georgia Secretary of State, General Counsel Charlene McGowan. I guess Clay didn't really clarify. This is a statement from her. But what cannot be decided conclusively or confirmed conclusively is whether or not those duplicative ballot images were included in the account, in the count. Our own elected officials have no idea how this works. Our own elected officials in Arizona, I had to inform the Senate president. According to federal law, these records have to be kept 22 months. It can be extended up to 24. It's U.S. Code 42, 1974, U.S. Code 5220-701. Really? That means they're there. You have the right to inspect them. Now, here's my point. If all of this is now the breaking story, and if the FBI says they've now substantiated what I've been fucking telling you for 5 years, and now they're probing to see if it was intentional, did you miscount those tickets? I think I counted them right. Well, here's the count and here's what you said. You see how the numbers are different? Yes. Well, you miscounted them. Well, geez, I didn't mean to do that. Did you somehow turn off the machines to not create a scanned image? I don't think I did. Where is that button to even do it? Get an order like me. I need this, 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 and this, and this, and this. But that's not what we're doing. Oh, well, I don't think they were scanned multiple times. Oh my God. I was just talking to my daughter and cousins on the phone and kind of showing them the tour through it. And I just kind of got confused. And I guess I didn't set it away far enough. And I accidentally picked it up again. I remember doing this and stacking them up. I thought I set it down. Fuck, did I run those in? I'm just not sure. Well, it shows you ran them in, Ruby. It's right there. I didn't mean to. It was a boo-boo. Well, what you wrote on this piece of paper and what we show in the ballots are two different numbers. It is inconsistent. So they go to the election supervisor. I can't read this person's scribble, so I don't really know who did this one, but shit, you can look at their scribble and tell they're a fucking idiot. But there's no rules in Georgia about hiring a fucking idiot. Some of the fucking people they hire, I'm telling you, where do they fucking get them? Public parks? I don't know. Truck stops? Hell, I don't know. But, we don't do any testing to see if they're enumerate. They just gotta kind of have a driver's license and be a Democrat. But we got one Republican, so we're bipartisan. But I don't think anybody meant to do it. Everybody now and then makes a mistake counting ballots. I mean, I'm sure if it happened, it was just a boo-boo. The only point I'm making here, folks, and I'll give you the affidavit. I'll put it over my locals for you. The only point I'm making is, and here's my problem. Maybe you can answer it for me. If anything to do with the machines and procedures is fucking voluntary, but it requires that you prove they intended to do it, when you can drive a fucking freight train fucking through it, and all they have to say is, I didn't mean to, and it's done. I just got a question to ask you. If our entire top-down strategy from the United States Election Commission is voluntary voting system guidelines, which has no enforcement, there's no enforcement mechanism. They can't arrest, they can't detain, they can't seize. And then it goes over to the Help America Vote Act. That's kind of like, I want to fuck your 3-year-old act. But they say, we want to expand the horizon of toddlers. Help America Vote Act. Bullshit. Help rig elections? Sure. Name that fucking shit right. And all the EAC has to do is say, when we follow HAVA guidelines. And HAVA has no enforcement action. Can't detain, can't seize. Now, HAVA can suspect, but then it's up to the state. And all the state has to say is we follow the recommended guidelines of the EAC and HAVA. And what is that? Well, they recommend that we recommend to follow their elections, but it's voluntary. We do exactly what they do. Where's the enforcement action? Well, it's called in Georgia, Brad Rat's ass booger. He has full control. Is he going to do anything? Because the ultimate control goes right down to that Secretary of State, who, by the way, all these states got together and have the National Secretary of State's Association, who are the same motherfuckers that approved the Electronic Registration Information Center Voting Act that rigs the rolls. Are those fuckers going to fix anything? Which handles, they say they won't turn it over to the United States government. We're not going to turn over the voter rolls. That's illegal. But they turn it over to some company in Washington that has 3 fucking employees that does everything overseas, and 31 fucking states sends it all there. They'll send it to a foreign national. They just won't give it to our government. Are you paying attention yet? This is why we've taken so much hit on forensic auditing. You have to explain, why did you run in 118,019 ballots on the day these were basically certified at the Capitol by the electorate? How did you certify this at the county level on 20th, at the state level on the 30th, and never have the fucking number? What'd you do with everybody's election day vote? Why do you say this was the most secure election ever when you should have 84.13% of folded ballots by the machine in Maricopa, and not a single district, 748 precincts made that number. In fact, in every category, status of paper. Yes, and you thought I wasn't going to cuss anymore. Did I cuss in this broadcast? I don't remember. We have a fix. There's only one fix we got. Let me see if I got it on my screen. Hang on. I'm going to tell you how this works. I got to edit my little booby screen. Here's the fix. On all social media, I'm going to play you a video. I'm going to give you a screenshot. We got one shot. Because our elections, thank you for the Democrats not thinking this through, put our elections under critical infrastructure for the first time in history in January 6, 2017. All of our election, everything is under critical infrastructure. Critical infrastructure circumvents the state, makes it all federal. President Trump has the right under critical infrastructure to stop it all right now. Now, why does he need to stop it all right now? And when I say stop it, temporarily stop it. Number one, Obama got 69 million votes the first time, 65 the second time. Hillary against Trump got 65 million. Biden delivered that FU, 81 million. Kamala got 68 close of election night, and she's now over 75 million votes 15 months later. They keep on adding. So they make the Biden coup look legit. That's all the illegals they brought in. Now, if you want to understand how they do it, they bring the illegals across the border. They give them a fucking social security card. Be nice, come back. Maybe we'll see in 5 years. But tell them to go get a driver's license. Why do they do it? You got to have ID to be in our country. Because when they get their driver's license, it puts them on the voter rolls. It drops them direct down. Here are the states with voter registration. Seth Keshel did this work. Here are the states with voter registration, where it goes directly automatic with motor voter. You see, they're the blue states. You see, the red states are the states that they attacked in 2020, starting to flip. The Michigans, the Pennsylvanias, right? The Georgias, the Nevadas. There it is. If that's the states that do automatic voter registration, what about the states that don't? There you go. That's America, folks. Right there. I'm going to give you a chance to get a screenshot here, because we can fix this. But this is where you have to do something over and above what you normally do. And that's not listening to this guy. He's fucking Joe. He says he shouldn't do this. This is the critical infrastructure bill. Take a screenshot. Take a screenshot. Quickly, take a screenshot. This does not mean just forwarding or amplifying. This means it got to be on your social media, every social media. You have to tag the president. You don't write Mr. President. You put @ POTUS if you're on Twitter, or @ real Donald Trump. You have to do it. It will turn blue if you've got it right. You tag it. Now, what you do is you tag it with a hashtag, burn the voter rolls. I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to do it in real time so you understand this is exactly how socialists move our country, okay? This is how the socialists move our country. So I'm going to get to my screen. I'm going to go here and I'm going to share. And we're going to look at this in real time. I'm going to share my screen. Here you go. It's going to be Twitter. Here you go. I'll go back to my screen and I'm going to pump this up. Okay, there's Twitter. Now I'm going to see if I can pump this up really big. Pink, pink, pink. Oop, it left the screen. Okay, you see up to the top right where it says search? if you're on Twitter. You can do this in any social media, folks, any social media. Up here on the right, you see, you got me, you got For You, you got following, you got search. Up here in search, you type hashtag, that's the pound sign, burn, B-U-R-N, the voter rolls. Burn the voter rolls. Do you see it? And you hit enter. You will now see, you can click on media. You'll get all the videos. You'll get everything I've ever done, everything I've ever proofed, all the wonderful memes that people are doing. Here it is, right there, everything. You take them as your own. That means you copy and paste. You can see everybody, latest. You can see everybody doing this. Period. You can see who's getting coverage on it. This is how you do it. This is how we find each other. Okay? On every single social media. On every single social media, you need to do this. And you must use that hashtag. What did I do with it? Hashtag burn the voter rolls, no spaces. Now, I'm going to explain it to you this way. If 60,000 of us right now did a brand new tweet, Getter, Twitter, Gab, MeWe, whatever, and basically like True Social, you go to True Social. First thing you put in is the hashtag burn the voter rolls. Then you copy Don Jr., the president, all of it. And then you take these memes and you take that one, which is the law, shows the law, just told you the code, and you put it in there and you say, Mr. President, you must do this before time runs out. And then, because you did it, you hit send. If 60,000 of us did it, do you understand the president's phone goes nuts? Now, he might have his notifications turned off, so it's not going to go bing, 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 bing. But it is going to vibrate. Or when he looks at it, he's going, fuck, look at all these messages. And they're going to look. This is what makes them look. This is what puts it on radar. That's it. Put it in there. I love you. Share this program. Sorry for the Winkalicious stuff. I got to fix something in my screen. So what's going on? I got to stop sharing. I'm gonna blip for a minute. Hang tight. I'll come right back. I'm just going to blip for a minute. Okay, I should be back. Let me make sure I got my audio right. Okay, I should be back. I don't know what's happening with media and stuff. So you're going to reuse this image. You're going to reuse this image, okay? And or you can play this video, which I'm going to end with. Remember, we are the only people out there that have any of this physical evidence. Only our team can completely recreate the total election. All the stuff I told you about missing ain't missing on our side. But here is the message you've got to get to President Trump. And I'm telling you, this would be the bomb he can drop if he moves now and delivers it during the State of the Union address, which is what, 2.5 weeks away? This is it. Get involved. Do this. Can't undo it. That's number one. So the president does not have to declare, hey, I want this under critical infrastructure. It is done. All the president does, he has to ask nobody's permission. None. Zero. He just has to do it. All these states have been showing illegals on the voter rolls. All these states have been showing the massive numbers of people that are on the voter rolls that shouldn't be there. They are showing the motor voter crisis that put this on. He doesn't need to do any of this. It's already done. It means he has sole responsibility and fiduciary duty to protect the United States of America. And all he has to do is say, I have determined that our critical infrastructure in the United States of America under our elections has been compromised. We have evidence, state after state after state. Therefore, I am stating, effective immediately, because we cannot guarantee the integrity of our voter rolls, we are immediately shutting down the voter rolls. Now, this will not affect your ability to vote. If you are an American citizen and you have a valid ID and you are a registered voter, this will not affect your ability to vote. This in no way blocks anybody's vote. But we cannot guarantee your vote will count. We cannot guarantee your vote will not be canceled by the vote of an illegal. Therefore, we are taking measures to protect you, the American people. And the only way we can do that is to temporarily block the use of the nation's voter rolls under critical infrastructure, Code 42. The elections will still go exactly as they've always gone. You will be able to vote. If you are an American citizen and can legally vote, you will be able to vote. And it won't matter if you're gay or straight, black, brown, or purple, you will still be able to vote. But in order to protect you, your rights, your liberty, your freedom, America's laws, and America's Constitution, you're going to have to do your part. And you are going to walk in to vote in the midterms, because we cannot guarantee you that our systems are clean enough that your vote won't be compromised. And we don't want anybody's votes compromised. Therefore, in participating with this country, you'll simply take your ID during the midterms and you will go in and vote. We hope you understand that this is to protect you, because we know, whether it's Democrat, Independent, Republican, or otherwise, that our nation's voting structure and system and its integrity is important to you. And just like every Democrat says, we don't want any suppression of the vote. We don't want anybody votes harmed. We don't want anybody, well, their vote canceled because they voted illegally. Therefore, in order to protect every single citizen of this nation, as part of critical infrastructure, we are immediately shutting down the use of our voter rolls because we know they have been compromised. We are beginning an investigation in every single state of each voter roll. And as my power of the president, I assure you, we will make sure that our voter rolls, before they come back and online, are safe and secure. But you do not vote because you're on the voter rolls. You vote because you're an American citizen. So with this temporary suspension of the voter rolls, it does not block your opportunity to vote. Nothing changes that. You are an American citizen. You will be allowed to vote no matter what city, what state, or wherever you are. We're going to protect you. We're going to protect this country. And now it's up to you to do your part to get out in the midterms, bring in your ID, and make sure you vote. We will get to the bottom of this, and we will protect every single citizen with no regard for race, color, or creed. And that's my job as President of the United States of America. We hope to make it fast. We hope to get it done. But be prepared. This may happen in the midterms. But I assure you, as long as I'm president, we will get it fixed, and we will bring these back online. That's the message, President Trump.
Our courts are based on clear and convincing evidence. Want convictions? Want justice? For what happened in the 2020 election? Then we need your help. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The decision you make in the next few moments could decide whether we ever get our elections fixed or not. Here's why. Trump campaign and allies file 64 different lawsuits. They all went down in flames. 100% of these cases were presented on "It's the Machines," or "The Machines changed the votes," or "The voting company executive said he would make sure Donald J. Trump would not win." They all went down in flames. Why? You can't bring theories to court as evidence. No supposed Zoom call or six-degree polynomial math theory or census data is or ever will be proof of fraud. You can't bring theories to court as evidence. Here's why. In both civil and criminal law, the side making a claim carries the burden of proof, and prosecutors must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Without physical or otherwise verifiable evidence, a case cannot meet this high threshold. Physical evidence is the key. The question is, did anyone get relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election? And the answer is yes, absolutely. The full forensic audit of Maricopa County, Arizona is the only evidence-gathering work which gathered relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election. Evidence so damning that the system, the deep state, and those who pull the strings of this country have fought to keep it hidden and have hoped to have it be forgotten to time. Almost $3 million invested in time, funds, and efforts to unlock that which the system wanted hidden. But now, that evidence is in danger of being lost forever. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. With the 2026 midterms coming up, the system is going to try to lame duck President Trump and then most likely introduce new impeachment proceedings. This is the evidence which will help win the war which is surely to come. We need to keep Maricopa County full forensic investigation and archive secure and ongoing. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We need your help securing the full forensic audit archives. Don't allow the only testable, objective, and reliable 2020 election evidence fall into obscurity. Millions were spent on getting it documented and tested. This is historic evidence. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County full forensic audit archives survive. Donate now. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We can't do it without you. We need you. America needs you. Our future needs you. Please donate now. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. Please donate now.